What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Hustlers Kung Fu Live. Today we're going to talk about some different stuff. We're going to talk about how to get stuff done so you can get results, daily results. Hold on a second while I hook up the text notification list. Once again, go below the video. There will be a link for the text notification list. And I'm about to send it out there and see how that works. Give me a second to get on it. Already got it queued up so we can get into the meat. And Happy New Year. Definitely your ability to focus will definitely separate you from the norm. All right. And booyah, that's gone. So, one of the things that we need to talk about, cold showers help you. That's cool. One of the things is to have, what's the difference between $1 million business and a $10 million business? It's systems and processes. All right, that's funny. Oh, Trav, thank you for the super chat. Awesome. Thank you for joining the super chat. One of the things that, once again, what's the difference between $1 million business? Hey, Tracy, hopefully you got the message for the B School for Hustlers. I sent that out just before I got on this live stream because I've added new content, new training. But once again, we'll talk about what's the difference between $1 million business and a $10 million business. Systems and processes. All right, good to go, Tracy. Systems and processes are really important to, like, you can make six figures online without having really systems and processes. You could just be kind of winging it. You can make, but the difference between making six figures and seven figures is structure, focus, and a system. This is really, really important if you want to grow your business. Now, let's take this to your life. What's the difference between an average life and an exceptional life? Once again, it's systems and processes. This is a big, big deal because one of the things that happens, that's funny, the text notification. I just sent my first text notification and it's in review. Alrighty then, that's wild. So we once again, I'm gonna try this again because a lot of these companies are just so squirrely that they want you to do it in a certain way. Um, it's funny. So once again, we will see on what happens with this because it's in review. It's just funny how, I have people here on YouTube who want this information, who want this training, who want this content, and YouTube won't give it to them. Then I go ahead and I set up a text notification list. And once again, this whole thing with texting is so wild. Because, I got people who got on the list who's like, yeah, send me a text. And I'm then this in review. Who knew this would be in review? But let's go on with the video content. Yeah, I'm using easy texting, same platform, and they put this in review, so we will see. One of the big issues here, and it's disturbing me because I've paid for this system and it ain't working. No one, once again, one of the things that pisses me off is when you buy a service and you do it and then you try to use it, then something like this will happen in review. I'm like, what's that about? And after this live stream, I'm going to message them because nowhere it said that they would do this once I set it up. But once again, one of the things that, like, let's talk about this with easy texting. One of the big issues that happens when you start a business is the unknown. When you think that if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to yield this result, and then something like that happens because you didn't have enough information. So one of the things that you got to do is get your information together. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I've added more training to B School for Hustlers, and this is going to be a monthly event where there'll be new training added to B School for Hustlers. And one of the things I want you guys to understand is blame the freak stuff on the Illuminati. And one of the things that's going down is for you to have an extraordinary life, you got to have systems and processes on how to do stuff. Systems and processes, because let's talk about the lower class people, the folks who make low money. And, I will, because I need to do this for Disruptive Mail because I haven't gotten around to doing it. But the thing is, let's take the sugar babies. If you didn't know, I got on a sugar baby website and start communicating to see how this thing works. And once again, they're about to go to halftime, man. Once again, and I think Kansas City is going to pull that out because Mahomes is a beast. Because, any other team that gets 21 behind, I would be worried, except not with the Chiefs, but with the lowercase sugar babies, I see behavior patterns that's indicative of why they're in the position that they're in. Number one, responding back, following up. 90% of them suck at it because the thing is, if it's not something that entertains them or they want to do, they won't do it. And this is not the habit of a successful person. This isn't the habits of successful people. Successful people get out of their feelings, and successful people go ahead and they do what they need to do regardless of how they feel. Let me say this again. Successful people do what they have to do regardless of how they feel. And this is coming for Disruptive Man. But you see so many behaviors that predispose them to low income, low expectations, and a life that is unhappy. Lack of follow-up skills, lack of communication skills, lack of so many skills. What's up, Johnny? And part of having a good life is having a system on how to have a good life. And this is something that no one ever tells you. No one sits you down and says, look, if you do this, you're going to have a good life. You're just told a bunch of general minutia, go to school, work hard, and you're not given the specifics. One of the things, like this link should be below, is how to get stuff done, is the Scripture Days course, because I moved that over to B School for Hustlers. And if I could get into my if I could get into my email, it's not it's not happening. It's not happening. I'll send that out later. But we talk about, Tracy, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your life because, see, the way that the B School for Hustlers is laid out is the money management course first, then Scripture Days, because I'm walking you through. Oh, yeah, we definitely got to get this Wi Fi bread. Walking you through a system. Because let's just go ahead and discuss this. If you have bad money management habits and you start a business and you start making mad money, guess what's going to happen? You're going to mess up that money because you have bad financial behaviors. And all this stuff is predicated on behaviors. If you have good behaviors, you're going to get good results. If you have bad behaviors, you're going to get bad results. And one of the things that a lot of people don't want to hear is when they're exhibiting bad behaviors, when they are doing certain things that create bad outcomes. Because once again, you're not supposed to say anything about single mothers. You're not supposed to say anything about a woman who had not one, not two, but three, and maybe 4 or 5 kids by 5 different dudes. The minute that she had her second child by her second dude, she was putting herself on the path for failure. All right, what we're talking about here, Pody, is we're talking about how to get stuff done and how to create that. Because one of the things I'm doing in 2020 is I'm not going to answer stuff that we're not talking about in the stream. There'll be plenty of stream. Hopefully, this one will come up with the information you want. But we're going to stay focused. Staying focused is such an important thing that you need to do. When you stay focused, when you stay on point, when you go ahead and commit to being focused, because this is what Scripted Days is about. It's about focus, because one of the big issues that you're going to have is we have so many people in society who are not used to being committed to anything. Absolutely, Zach. One of the things that, like if you say commit 30 minutes a day to exercise, a lot of people freak out. Like, man, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. So you got to commit to Happy New Year. You got to commit to making your life better. Because let's talk about let me ask you a question and put it in the comments. Do you have a system, a process on how to get things done? And do you have a measurement system in place on how to get things done? Because, once again, being an online entrepreneur, there's always something to do. There's so many things that's going on. There's so many things you have to do. And if you get stuck on a task, then it just doesn't go as well as it should. Goodfellow, people too comfortable. They've never been through enough to care to have drive. All right, Ganja. Because when you have a system, because once again, the difference between a good life and the average life, and we're going to define this, Kevin Davis, this is truth. And a lot of people don't talk about this because I'm in the group, I'm in the ClickFunnels Facebook group, and there are people in there that who are rank amateurs. They've never made $1 online, and it shows based on the questions they're asking because you don't know what you don't know. Yes, Erica, America has made being average very easy. And a lot of these folks, they've never run a business. They've never had to be responsible for other people. You'll see someone post a question like, how can I make $10,000 a month and work 20 hours a week? Let me repeat that. These are the kind of questions I see from newbies. How can I make $10,000, $20,000 a month and only work 20 hours a week? It does not work like that. When I started this channel, I was working 12 hours a day for about 6 months and I made no money. Let me repeat that. When I started this channel in 2009, I was working 12 hours a day and I didn't make money for about 5.5 months. This whole notion, all right, Black Moonlight, this whole notion that you could do virtually nothing and make a lot of money is what a lot of this is how people get scammed. Let me see. Uh, you know what's funny? People about some of these FB groups, people post questions that they could have done where was a simple Google search or just straight up pessimistic people. They're just lazy, man. Was the mastermind a guy was that you can make 10K a month off your personal brand after you build it. No one wants to build it. That building process is rough. We're talking 2 to 3 years. Because once you build it, then yeah, you can just press a lever and make money. But how do you build it? How do you set it up? All right, Polly Robbins, you get recommendations from the old videos 6 to 7 years ago. That's awesome. That is really cool. Michael J., you're definitely telling it the way it is. I'm a 64-year-old male, and it took me years to acquire wealth, decades. Now, once again, if you're willing to devote 3 to 5 years of your life, now what does that entail? That means you working, you're not going out. If someone has a wedding or a birthday party, you'll go. But otherwise than that, you're working on your business. If you do that for 3 to 5 years, and once again, many of you who are listening to this are going to live to be 90 to 100. My Aunt Bunny is 102 years old. She's 102 years old. So when you start looking at how long you're going to live, those 2 to 3 years or 5 years, they ain't really a lot of time compared to how long you're going to live. And this is like, let's say you're 25 and you will live to be 95. Tracy Steven, yes, my grandmother's 104. People are going to live a lot longer. And this is one of the big issues that so many people have is that they, thank you, digital. Because, the really, like with Facebook group, I'm not going to say that those people don't want to work. They just don't know what they need to do because becoming an online entrepreneur, There are so many things that you have to learn. And this is why people like the Shopify template. This is why people like the Amazon FBA template. This is why people like Instagram template. Like I can go get this template and I can do X, Y, and Z and I can make money. But here's the problem with a template. And this is why B School for Hustlers is a wide spectrum education. Templates, like right now, someone posted, because you're gonna, if you just do, I got kicked out of Amazon FBA. Just do this, because someone posted this on Facebook the other day that they were making $2,000 a day, and Amazon just said that they did something inauthentic and kept the money. They had to sue Amazon to get their money, and they left it alone. If you just go ahead and go to YouTube, how many people got kicked off of Amazon FBA? Now, this is the problem with a template business. Because it's a template business, it's going to be like, it's going to have a decaying orbit. So the longer that this is out there, and the more people that buy it, and the more people that participate in this template, the less effective that it's going to be, because there's more people competing in this. And this is what, I was telling people years ago. You go on this channel and go, no eBay, no Amazon. You'll see the videos that I predicted what was going to happen with Amazon FBA years before it happened. When you do a wide spectrum, education, you could figure a lot of stuff out. There are people here on the internet that have multi-million dollar a year businesses selling socks. Multi-million dollar a year businesses selling socks. Multi-million dollar businesses selling underwear. Multi-million dollar businesses selling this. These came from wide spectrum education. Cyrus Black, thanks for the $20 super chat. Spectrum business application, not templates. Because see, once you start doing templates, after a while, they're just not going to work. And you're going to have so many things that will happen with these template-based businesses. Good fellow Nail, be real. Most of these entrepreneurs claim entrepreneurship because they're lazy and don't want to work. Gary Vee's partially pumping them up. I haven't watched Gary Vee in a minute. I don't know what he's doing. AJ Poole, making money isn't supposed to be sexy. It's a process with a goal in mind. Do the boring, make the money. And that's a really good point, because there's a lot of aspects of my business that are boring. Right now, I have someone working on a promotional campaign, and it's tedious work. It's just tedious, but it has to be done. And it's going to take a few months to do this, of this boring, tedious, repetitious, but do that and plug that into the system and then pull a lever and you will make money. This is one of the things that will happen when you do the boring consistently. Because this is one of the big things that hasn't. Gary Vee just ended his daily V. I mean, it can only go on for so long. It can only go on for so long. Because once again, one of the big things is, as an entrepreneur, as a successful person, you're going to be a person that can get things done. And one of the things is, like, this weekend, like yesterday, I was doing training, and I will have to do training for this whole week, because right now I just have the person just going on. You can't Google experience. Isn't that the truth? You just can't. So I got to take a step back because as a business owner, to train people, you got to kind of put something on pause because the people are only going to be as good for your business as well as they're trained. And if they're trained and they're competent and they feel, like, "Hey, I got some training here," they're going to do a good job. But if you don't take the time to train them and monitor them, and essentially, like I look back at my experience with Run a Crate, they sent someone from Boston to train me on gold mine for a whole week. I want you to think about that because I started calculating the cost. They were paying me, they were paying the guy who trained me, they bought him a plane ticket, they were paying for him to stay in the hotel. So I figured training me how to use gold mine cost them about $5,000. I want you to really think about that. $5,000. Now their investment in me was well worth it because they made millions after I left after the work I'd done. But because I got the training and it was a system, there was a methodology. And this is one of the things that you're going to need to be successful in life. Like one of the things that, like with disruptive mail, Craigslist protocols, it was a system. That's why it works so well. It was a repeatable, it was a system that I could get repeatable, duplicated results over and over and over and over again because it was a system. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't like systems. There's a lot of people who like, I just like life to surprise me every morning. I want to wake up and be surprised. I don't want to plan anything. And these are the people who are usually not traditionally successful. I don't want to plan anything. I don't want anything set up for me. I just want to be wowed every day I wake up. And this is how, from a generational standpoint, you have people, generation after generation, that are poor because of these behaviors, not setting up a system. Because you will notice this, because once you get on a path of upward mobility and you will start looking at your friends and you will notice that weekend, it's the weekend, baby. It's the weekend, baby. We're going to have a party. Even though Monday through Friday, we didn't really hit our goals, we didn't really make any money, but it's because it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the weekend, baby. We're going to party. Even though they broke. The guy, what's his name? Let me look it up real quick. The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. I read that book. He talked about this. He talked about this when he was doing his first limo business. In the weekends, he was working. And he got to the point where he was able to hire people where he got his weekends back, but that was many years down the road. And he talked about what his friends were doing in the book. And once again, as you get on this path of upward mobility, you will see with clear distinction what your friends are not doing. Kevin Davis, do weekends is when I can really put in some serious work, celebrating failure. Yeah, because once again, on your 2 to 3 year journey, kiss weekends goodbye. Don't even think about, well, the weekend's coming up. If you're looking forward to the weekend because this is a time that you can make some money, you're on the right path. If you're looking forward to the weekends because I want to party, I'm going to party, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to relax, I'm going to let my hair down. You don't have a process And once again, let's be clear. If Monday through Friday you have a process on how to be successful, you have systems, and you accomplish all your goals Monday through Friday, take the weekend off. But how many people have goals and are accomplishing them Monday through Friday? That's a serious, serious point there. Because once again, you know, life is about getting things done. And you've got many people, let's see, Lee Dye, I absolutely love systems. Feng Shui means everything to how I design and organize my home. Your environment affects you so much on how you get things done. Because this is true. When I got Earl Nightingale lead the field, and there was a productivity part to that. And when I started to deploy that, I started to get stuff done. Stuff that had been hanging around for weeks or months or sometimes years. Oh, I need to do that. How many of you have things you know you need to do, but you haven't figured out the time and you haven't gotten around to? Weekends are the power days for resellers to make money? Pretty much. Pretty much. Last time I sold some stuff on eBay, and the days have not changed. If you're going to list auction items on eBay, 6 p.m., having your auctions go off at 6 p.m. on Sundays is a killer time to have them go off. Killer time. It was Monday, it was Tuesday, and it was Thursday nights. Those were our nights that we would have our auctions end. And also, if you want to make more money, you would do a buy it now. It's just real strange. Well, actually, it's not when you look at psychology. People like bidding because they want to steal the item. They want to get it cheaper than what they're supposed to pay for it. Buy it now, people like, I want it, that's a good price, send it to me. So it's two different types of customers. But once again, do you have a system on how to get things done? Do you have a procedure on how to live your life? Like, let's talk about dating. Most people that you will go up to and you ask them, would you like a book on how to date? And they look at you like, no. Dating, I know how to date. Really? If you go to Bumble or any of these dating sites, you will see in the descriptions like, hey, I want to get off this app. Hey, I hate being on Bumble. I hate online. I hate dating. You'll see this over and over and over again because these people don't have a system on how to date. And when you present to them and sit down and talk to them about creating a system, they will look at you like, you got four heads. I don't need no system. I don't need any advice. I don't need to spend any money how to be a better dater. Yeah. Yet the results that they get from dating, they actually suck. But they keep doing the same thing over and over and over and hoping that it will get better. That it would magically just pow, it'll get better. Once I created a system for dating, my dating life changed for about 10 years until I started doing disruptive male stuff. I wasn't on dating sites, didn't need them. My system, my protocols were working so well. I had plenty of female companionship. Plenty, because I had a system. I had an acquisition system. And within that acquisition system, I had protocols on how to treat them because it's like a sales process. Once you get fundamental sales training, which will not be including, I could sell ice to an Eskimo. That's some ghetto hood stuff. Why would you want to sell ice to an Eskimo? Once you get good sales training, you realize that as a salesperson, you are a resource. And what you're trying to do is find people that you can help. You're not trying to convince someone who doesn't need your services to buy them. That's actually bad salesmanship. There's plenty of people out there that need whatever you're selling. Your goal is to find those people and help them out. But so many people are caught up in what I call the ghettoization and the hoodness of sales. Like, I watch a lot of YouTube videos with these rappers and these guys who've gone to jail. And one of the reasons I watch these guys is to keep myself honest, to understand you don't ever want to take any of these shortcuts. And it's also, once again, like our culture. Many people, like, let's take Donald Trump and the impeachment. He broke the law. He did an impeachable offense. The average American doesn't care. Yeah, he did something wrong. So what? I don't care. Just like when Bill Clinton was getting blown up, getting blown in the Oval Office. The economy was good, people making money, property right. I don't care. I don't really care. And that's one of the reasons that this impeachment thing ain't going nowhere, because most people really just don't care. And this is one of the things that you've got to understand is that if people are comfortable, something atrocious could happen and they're just really not going to care. Just not going to care. Folks love the guy who gets out of jail and is a businessman, a public speaker. That's just not regular life for suburban kids. And, you see this. I was watching this thing where this guy spent 44 years in jail. I'm like, I'm only 53. That's 9 years less. That's 9 years less than I've been alive. He spent 44 years in prison. And he got out and he started looking for his family and people who knew him. And it was this big homecoming. And, he was seeing all these people. And it was so sad. It was so sad because, there's many channels where people talk about prison. And once again, if I can be of any help or assistance to any kid out there who thinks that there's no other way, please let me be a light, because you don't need to sell drugs. You don't need to commit crimes. You don't need to rob anybody. I mean, the math on robbing somebody, you use a gun to intimidate someone to give you whatever they're carrying. You get caught. That's 15 years of your life for less than $100, because a lot of people don't carry cash. I mean, the math on that is just tragic. It's just tragic. Like, if I was ever going to do any crime, it would do white collar crime. Because you just don't have the dangers of, and once again, there's a lot of people who aspire to that drug life, aspire to that street life, aspire to get street cred because they had a dysfunctional upbringing. Going back with Erica's point, folks love the guy who gets out of jail as a businessman or a public speaker. It's like none of these kids out here where I live, they don't know any criminals. They don't have an uncle who's been in jail. Well, maybe one or two might. But the family don't associate with him. And this is, once again, this is about systems and processes, because if you have a system or a process on how to be successful, you're going to be in a different category than other people. Why do people hate on a reformed criminal who's now killing it with a business? I'm going to tell you why people hate on him, because it is out of proportion. Chris Rock said this: you get out of jail, you the man. Everybody loves you. You graduate with a 4.0, okay. We should be celebrating the people who graduate with 4.0s. We should be celebrating the people. We've got a ghettoized culture that celebrates people who go to jail and come out and reform themselves. I mean, they should get credit for changing their life, but also, why did they do the thing? Because this is one of the things I get in so much trouble with is when someone where you get into a case where you do something wrong and the police beat you up. Don't dare say that they were doing some crime. That ain't the point. The police shouldn't have beat them up. Well, maybe if they weren't doing the crime, I mean, there's been a few cases where, people were home and the police busted in and did something wrong. But you've done something wrong, typically, and you can't even talk about that. Like when Sandra Bland, I say if Sandra Bland had shut her mouth, she probably would have rolled home. Can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. Well, that's forbidden to even talk about. I got robbed at Gunja, 14 gunpoint over a KFC chicken sandwich. Looking back, those are some retarded robbers. At least I snuffed one of the guys before he pulled out his gun. What's up, Coach Carroll? Most of the criminals are rich folk are the grandparents who got them a head start to set the family up. Talk about the Kennedys, hood culture's killing the black race. Pretty much. Eric Williams, I stood outside graduation to take pictures with the few who were going to graduate, but all cousins took pics. Be careful, Glendon. I know, man. I know I'm walking on fragile ground because if, like, the guy who's like, I can't breathe, if he wasn't out there selling illegal cigarettes, because see, this is one of the problems. You're not supposed to judge someone who's doing something wrong due to popular culture. He was selling cigarettes to feed his family. Biggie Smalls put it in the lyrics of one of his songs. I was just selling drugs to feed my family. Really? You could have fed your family with a minimum wage job. You didn't want to do that. And this is, once again, his family assumes smart kids don't need support, but we over support the criminals in the family. Richard Pryor, my grandma, my baby's a chemist when he's cooking his drugs up on the stove. My baby's a chemist. We've got things in reversed. There's so many things in reverse, and like, for someone who did something wrong, went ahead and rehabilitate their life and living a good life, my hat's off to you. Congratulations. But I'm not going to celebrate you like I would celebrate someone who didn't get in trouble the first place. I remember I had a friend, and it was a female, and she was the good child in the family, and her sister was hell on wheels. I mean, girl went to juvie, she was doing drugs, and she's like, everybody gives her all the attention, and I don't get in trouble, and I don't get no attention. I mean, this was a problem for her. And her grandma said, well, we know you're gonna be all right, but Gail, she needs help. So all the family was focused on this one yardbird who ended up over ODing on some drugs. And my friend told me, she said, the day she died is the day that my life started again. Because people started to pay attention to me because she was gone. That's sad. To be honest, the cops already knew Eric Garner way before the incident. He already knew the deal. Habitual criminal. James says the brother in Texas shot by the white female cop in the apartment fair. She actually got convicted and she went to jail. So what are you talking about? How's that even close to what I'm talking about? Eric Gardner was selling cigarettes and doing something illegal. How is that even the same thing? See, this is one of the issues that happens. People want to conflate something like what this chick did doesn't happen. And once again, let's just we're having this conversation. Name one rich, famous, wealthy black man that's been shot by the cops. Name one. Google it. Go ahead and Google it. Name one. Name one. Name one. Plexico Burris, who was playing for the Steelers, actually had a gun in a club in New York, shot himself, and the police didn't shoot him. He had a gun on him. Yo, Glenn, you hear about the guy who tried to rob a Family Dollar and got shot by the cashiers. They tried to say the cashier was racist and tried to emphasize with the robber. That that's common, man. That's common. Eric Williams, yep, that's when you start your own family and move away. I know Black Caesar, but see, once again, this is the dysfunction. And if you mentally identify with the lower class because you feel that the upper class have been giving, handing the business to the lower class forever, you're on the wrong side of the fence. If you identify with the criminal, it's like, yeah, he was selling drugs, but the police wasn't supposed to touch him. Yeah, he was committing crime, but the police weren't supposed to. Hello? Infinite waters diving deep. Can I get a hello? If, how many men were shot, criminals were shot when they were at home taking care of their kids? And once again, I got some people in the comments already disagreeing because I'm talking about this. How dare I talk about if you haven't done anything criminal that your involvement of the police probably wouldn't have happened? Once again, we're talking about how to get stuff done, how to have a good life, how to live your best version of your life. And there are many people out there. And the reason I'm talking about this is, one day someone's going to come across this stream and see this and be like, wow. Pretty much, Mr. Big, the point is the person wasn't committing crime. They wouldn't have been in that situation that brought their own misfortune. You're not supposed to bring that up. Steve Jameson, this was it's true in poor neighborhoods. Poor Hispanics, poor white people, poor Asian people all have the same issues with the police. And you want to know why? Because it's usually poor people who are committing crimes because they have no money. Like when I lived in East Atlanta and I had this conversation with a neighbor, all the robberies and stuff were happening because these grandmothers and grandfathers who had bought their house paid off had a family member living with them who was committing these crimes. It wasn't old people, but it was these young folks who were living with them who was like, hey, I got to come up. All right, cash only, that makes no sense. Examples clutch. The lower class Negroes want that metaphorical hug and respect from whites in the upper class before putting in the work, yet they get angry at black folks who actually receive respect from whites. Eric Williams, how about folks got mad at me when I said get a laptop and take online courses to get a job because Chicago has high lack of unemployment. Folks are like, computers are too expensive. When I was talking about Apple sells computers for 10 times. Like you can get you a computer for $300. for the same price as some Jordans. You can get you a computer for $300. Same price as some Jordans. Or you can get you a computer for less than the cost of an iPhone. This iPhone that I have here was like $1,200. Poor Asian people in California are shooting each other and have high arrest numbers. Yeah. Once you go to any poor neighborhood, whether it's a black poor neighborhood or a white poor neighborhood or a Hispanic poor neighborhood, you still have the same generational pathologies. I've been like, do this in your spare time. Check out, it's here on YouTube, The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. This is a poor white family. They have out of wedlock birth, they have drug use, they have criminal records, they have the same pathologies as poor black people. Mr. Big, yes, being responsible does mean taking control. Computers are expensive, but they have a PS4. PS4 is fun, man. Computer, ain't nothing. Being the bartender, folks want to curl up in their excuses like a blanket and watch the world pass by. You can get $200 at laptops at Best Buy, pretty much. But see, once again, going back to the social pathology. And this is one of the things, and if you're a young person, you're hearing this for the first time, doing things from a success standpoint does not make you white. Because this is one of the worst things is if you do successful things, and this successful things are usually identified with white people behavior, then you're trying to act white because you're trying to be successful. That is one of the most cancerous mindsets that plagues so many young black folks. I know, Kevin, education comes in so many ways. Yeah, Brian Tracy's a good dude. Those Chromebooks are expensive, but they find a way for red bottoms, purses, and those stripper shoes. The USA has a national 8th grade reading level. So I told my friend, he was like, that's the inner city. Why do you think we have Trump? This isn't just, we just don't have dumb black folks. We got a lot of dumb white folks. I remember when Trump was getting elected and someone's like, I feel strange for donating money to a billionaire, but they did it anyway. Being from the DMV, I can attest that the half of whites of West Virginians who are poor commuting 50 plus miles to the DC area for work. I mean, go to check out the Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. You will see similar pathologies in this family. Jeff, Google credit videos on the channel. Coach Carroll, this is true. I was watching the documentary, and many of Trump's policies have harmed these people, yet they still support him. Going back to that 8th grade reading level. Mr. Big, I grew up poor. Almost everyone in my family was a victim. It was everyone's fault but their own. There was always the hero, a victim of their own stories. The system wronged me. They got screwed. Once again, you just start to look, once you start becoming successful and doing successful things and bringing successful behaviors in your life, you will be able to look at your friends, your family with a different set of lenses that will be like, whoa. You will be looking at them with such a different set of lenses because Once you get on the success path, your life changes. E-Man 232. Once again, if you don't do the crime, more than likely you're not going to get beat up by the police. And see, this whole thing is, yes, we're Americans, we're subject to due process. But once again, most folks don't gonna care. Most folks don't care. Good fellas, but when you act wise, the ignorant call it's only bettering yourself in this capitalistic society. Ignorant people stay backwards. Good fella Nell, absolutely. No, NJ Pool, I know. And Eric Williams, I play tennis, kayak, and have no kids. So many folks will joke in your face that you acting white. And I've seen that. I got a friend. She's female. She's 40 years old. She's never been married. She has no kids. People act like there's something wrong with her. All right, Jeff. Scott Bevan. Yeah, read, talk, and sing your kids when they're young. It makes a world of difference. Literally makes the difference between a dead end job and a lucrative career later in life. Eric, this is why I deal with folks at business conference, seminars, a certain extracurricular. Hey, I can only imagine what you're going through, Erica. Agent J. Poole, it cracks me up having your bills paid and the freedoms to make choices means you're white. Yeah, because black folks ain't supposed to have it like that. I didn't see that. Steve James used to get that I was acting white because I bought sunscreen to go to the beach. People act like black folks don't need sunscreen. Black Caesar, I understand why people from the community leave the hood when they make it because they're others who refuse to step their game up or will drain you and make you feel guilty about your decisions. Absolutely. I got stopped by the cops 3 times in my life. I'm still in 2020. I have one aunt who was given the house by my grandfather when she was 25 years old. To this day, she barely works but complained life isn't fair. I know, Romero, I know. See, once again, so many things that, let's just talk about the black folks. There's so many bad things that most of us have to unpack to be successful because, like, you can Google this. The black children of upper middle class to rich black folks often grow up to be poor. And I've seen why this happens because they're trying to keep it real. See, Otis Lawrence Graham, let me say his name, Otis Lawrence Graham, Google him. He wrote this book, Our Kind of People. And this was about the rich black middle classes, always been America. And what they do is they have a fence around, like, if you're not one of them, they don't mess with you. They try to keep the group pure. And they practice many successful habits, going to school, not getting pregnant before getting married. And they get similar results. But they can also get attacked because they're very different. Erica Williams, that happens. I know a chick who she's like 58 years old and she lives with her parents. She's never moved out. Good for you, Kevin Davis. Good for you. The Bole is a part of them. I know a few of those St. Louis families and that kind of people. Jack and Jill, these were in, you know, I know someone like my former business partner, her family was like that. And once again, the attraction to keeping it real is so powerful that her daughter, her aunt, she had gotten married, she had gotten pregnant to a good dude. He was a doctor, she's a doctor, and she broke up. And dude was telling me that she was messing around with a dude where she had to pay his cell phone bill. She had to pay his cell phone bill. And she came from a family that didn't play that kind of stuff. And it's just this powerful draw of ghetto culture. So once again, you gotta have a success system. You gotta have a system for dating. You have to have a system for working out. You have to have a system for your business. Children of upper and middle class trying to keep it real is why middle class black counties like Prince George and DeKalb are dumps compared to their other county counterparts. Man, um, I used to date this chick who lived in Latonia, which is counterpart of South DeKalb. The foolishness that I would see on there, like Sunday mornings, like um, were just a trip out there. It was just a trip out there. And I was like, and I always said I was never going to live in Latonia or Southwest DeKalb because part of, it doesn't matter where I live, but there are no jobs out there. Everybody's driving 30, 40, 50 minutes to get to work. Pretty much, Stephen Jameson, pretty much. Douglas Jones, I know a great black man who worked his way up from a Harlem tenement in the bad old days. He was in the boule and worked tirelessly to uplift the race. There are good people out there that do that. But once again, one of the things that you have got to understand is you got to have a system and a process to have a good life. That's the general message of this video. You got to have a system and a process. And one of the systems and the processes to having a bad life is to adopt hood culture, because we had some people dissenting who want to talk about it ain't fair. So what? He's a criminal. They supposed to treat him fair. He's a criminal. We need due process. If you weren't committing crimes, you wouldn't have got into harm's way. Yes, the police have a duty to treat you with respect and not to beat you up, but why is this so common? Because no one gives a damn. No one really cares, because people get mad when someone gets beat up by the police. Yeah, we big mad. Where were you when this kid grew up without a father? We ain't gonna even talk about that. Because see, once we start dissecting the behavior and the outcomes, we go back to a person that no one wants to blame, which is usually mom. I posted an article on my Facebook page today talking about most of the school shootings were done by kids who didn't have dads. All of these shootings are done by kids who don't have dads, who don't have fathers. We don't want to talk about that. And one of the reasons that many kids don't have a father is because the mother's got a point to prove. And historically, as our society has not punished women, we're getting to that point where women are starting to be punished for malfeasance. It's starting to happen. But once again, all right, so I'm about to bounce. Go below. You can get Scripture Days. It's a powerful course that's going to change your life. It's going to give you a procedure, how to get stuff done in a way to live your life on a better wavelength. So with that, I'll see you guys later.